Nancy Adams, a bright and athletic American medical student, is grieving the recent loss of her mother to cancer. Struggling with her studies and uncertain about her future, she travels to a secret beach in Mexico, the same beach her mother once visited while pregnant with her. The trip is meant to be a personal pilgrimage, a moment of reflection and closure. After getting a ride from a friendly local named Carlos, Nancy arrives at the beautiful remote beach. She video chats with her younger sister and father, who tries to encourage her to come home and continue her education. Nancy, however, is not ready, emotionally or mentally, to move on. She meets two local surfers who share the waves with her for most of the afternoon. The water is idyllic, and Nancy feels a momentary peace as she surfs and connects with the ocean. Eventually, the other surfers head back to shore, leaving Nancy alone to catch one last wave before the tide shifts. As she paddles out farther, Nancy notices the bloated carcass of a humpback whale floating nearby, a disturbing sight in the otherwise serene setting. While investigating, she is suddenly attacked by a great white shark, which bites deep into her thigh and knocks her from her surfboard. Bleeding and panicked, Nancy manages to fight free and scramble onto the whale's body, using it for temporary safety. But the shark is relentless. It smashes the carcass, forcing her to swim toward a nearby rock outcrop just above the tide line. Wounded and alone, Nancy reaches the isolated rock, which becomes her tiny prison, just 200 yards from the shore, but unreachable due to the shark that circles her constantly. Her leg is in terrible condition, and she knows time is against her. She uses a pair of earrings, a surfboard strap, and her limited medical knowledge to cauterize and suture the deep wound, slowing the bleeding. A small injured seagull, also stranded on the rock after the attack, becomes her silent companion. She names it Steven Seagull, and its presence provides her with fleeting comfort and a sense of shared survival. Nancy spends the night on the exposed rock, freezing and in pain as the shark continues to circle. She desperately tries to flag down a drunken local who stumbles across her belongings on the beach, but he doesn't see her. Instead, he steals her phone and bag, and while wading into the water to take her surfboard, he's attacked and killed by the shark. The next day, the two surfers from earlier return. Nancy tries to warn them, but they can't hear her. The shark ambushes them both, killing them in brutal fashion. Nancy retrieves a GoPro camera from one of their helmets, using a makeshift spear, and films herself giving a message to her family, especially her sister, believing it may be her final words. She realizes that her only hope is a nearby metal buoy, equipped with a navigational bell and ladder. Timing her swim carefully during a brief absence of the shark, she pushes herself off the rock and swims to the buoy. As she climbs aboard, the shark returns and begins battering the structure. Using flares from a mounted case, Nancy fires one into the sky to attract help, but it's too far from any passing boats. In desperation, she fires another into the water, igniting oil leaking from the whale carcass, causing a fiery explosion that temporarily drives the shark back. Badly injured and physically broken, Nancy prepares for a final confrontation. As the shark circles and tears apart the buoy, she sets a trap. She swims downward into deeper waters, using a dropped anchor chain to draw the shark with her. At the last second, she moves aside, and the shark impales itself on a spike of rebar from a broken metal structure on the seabed. Nancy surfaces, barely conscious, as the shark's lifeless body sinks into the depths. She is found washed up on the shore by a young boy, the son of Carlos, and rescued by his father. The film jumps forward 1 year. Nancy is fully recovered and back in Texas, now surfing again, this time with her younger sister. The experience has changed her, but she's alive, and she has found the strength to move forward, not just physically, but emotionally. The Shallows is a taut, intimate survival thriller that combines physical tension with emotional depth. At its core, it's a story about grief, endurance, and the will to live. With minimal dialogue and a single location, the film turns one woman's fight against nature into a powerful metaphor for overcoming personal loss.